Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Double Cleanse podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things in the beauty influencer sphere and
Yeah.
all the gossip that goes on behind the scenes. My name's James Welsh.
And I'm Robert Welsh.
For those who don't know, I am a skincare enthusiast. I've been an influencer for about 10 years now.
Yes, and I'm a professional makeup artist, and I've been influencing for about 5 years now.
Influencering. Listen, you all right?
Yeah, you?
Yeah. Oh. Can we just say Robert threatened me before we start this episode?
No, I was
It was
just
the
saying-
weirdest thing. We were just running through what we're going to talk about this episode, and he randomly goes, "What did he say?"
I said, be careful.
You went, "Be careful."
Because
and I was like, "Why?"
No, just because what we're talking about can be quite, not sensitive, but, our experience in it has been very positive. So it's just like, be careful that we're not maybe offending some of the brands.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
we're going to be talking about influencer brand trips today, which
Yes.
works kind of like the peak influencer thing to do back in the day, and they still do happen, but they have just changed so much.
Yeah, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad.
Yeah, and we've been on a fair few brand trips in the time where they have changed into what they have become,
Yes,
which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail later.
we shall. We'll do
Yeah.
that.
We'll
do that for you.
So usually we do this game of fact or fiction, right? Where we talk about something that an influencer has done
Yeah.
this week, this month, whatever, or that day, that we have to guess whether it's true or false, right?
Because it can be crazy
But
sometimes.
I feel there's something way more pressing to talk about today.
Oh.
Pantone color of the year. Have you seen it?
White.
White. Well, hang on.
Okay,
Let me
okay,
let me
Let me see it,
let
because
me
I feel like I'm quite good at undertones and color, so
Okay.
maybe I'll be able to see something other than white.
Okay, it's called Cloud Dancer.
Yeah.
11-4201, color of the year 2026.
Okay, so that's white.
So it's white,
Yeah.
right? And can I just explain how
And,
they
and
describe
it's
it?
not like a grey white or a blue white, that's pure
It's
white.
not your parents' living room 2006.
Right.
It is
That
white,
not
white.
Magnolia.
They say,
Yeah.
introducing Pantone color of the year 2026. Pantone 11-41-4201 Cloud Dancer, a lofty white neutral whose aerated. Oh, I'm already pissed off.
I'm pissed
It's
off too.
white.
It's white.
Who's like,
Calm down.
Robert loves colors. He
Oh,
loves
I
colors.
love- don't get
He's
me
a
wrong,
makeup
I
artist.
love
But this
colours.
is too much. Whose
Yeah.
aerated presence acts as a whisper of calm and peace in a noisy world.
So it's white.
But this is the thing, right? I think they're trying to say like they're trying to bring a air of peace and
So, like,
serenity
start again.
to 2026.
White.
Do they know something we don't know? Because I don't think 2026 is going to be any better than 2025.
Right.
Not to upset everyone. I know we're going into the new year or in the new year
Yeah.
right now, but I don't think unless they know world peace is coming, I don't know what the fuck they're talking
I
about.
don't know what we mean by white.
No, and it's not reassuring in any way.
It just speaks to how boring and plain everything is nowadays. I'm
How
over
safe
it.
everything's
I'm
become.
over it. Bring back Pantone color for year.
Lofty beige.
1980s neon green.
Neon green.
Yeah.
I was watching Luxera,
Luxera,
I say her name wrong, YouTube channel. Basically, she does these reaction videos, and she does this reaction video to like a 1990s home makeover show.
Vile.
So let's not go too crazy with Pantone color year, because
Yes.
back then they used to do things like, this whole wall's gonna be red with like a
Yes.
whisper of Christmas, but this would be in
Yes.
like summer, and it'd be
Yeah.
like a red and green wall.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
the opposite wall would be beige
Yeah.
with like green flowers.
And what was it with ducks and like bird animals?
They
It was like, oh, here's your kitchen
and
and
random
also a
statues
duck.
of children. What? Do you remember everyone had that random like statue of a child in a dress on a bit of
You mean
grass?
the ones with no faces?
Yeah, terrifying.
Oh.
And dolls in general.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's, at least grandmothers, had a doll in their house.
Our grandmothers didn't. Oh
yes,
no, they did.
yes, she fucking did. Terrifying, haunting things. And that's the thing. I'm sorry, if you put a doll in your house, you're asking to be
I
haunted.
have no sympathy when that doll wakes up. That doll wakes up. Yeah, the doll wakes up.
It wakes
you
up,
wake
and
up
then it wakes you up,
It's at the end of your bed, being like, "I saw you." I don't know what I'm
waving a
gonna say.
knife at you.
Yeah.
It's your fault. I'm
I saw
sorry.
you painting your living room.
And
Pantone
this
color of the
is
year.
so a guy that we used to live with. One of our very good friends used to have this thing for antique furniture. He goes through a lot of phases, but this
You're
one's buying
asking
antique.
for it. You're asking
And we were
to
like,
be
you need to
haunted.
stop because you're going to make us haunted.
Especially a chair.
Yeah.
If you buy an antique chair, I bet you someone died in that chair.
And they're still sitting in
And they're
it.
still sitting in it now. You can't see them, but they are still sitting in that chair.
Pantone color of the year, eh?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Pantone color of the year 2026.
Somebody did say in the comments, like, they could have just taken this year off. Like, they didn't need to just be like,
Yeah.
what should we do? I don't know.
Oh,
White?
you know what? Black is more exciting than white.
We wear black?
We wear black. of a color.
Is white a color?
Technically, it's a tone or shade, so it's not. It's a tone. It's not technically a color. Technically,
Maybe we should find. Maybe we could find a way to sue Pantone.
let's sue Pantone.
We're suing Pantone 2026. No, it just feels safe, and it feels like, not to get too like serious about it now, but this year in particular feels like every brand has taken things very
too
safe.
too far on the
Too
safe
far on the
side.
safe
It's like,
side.
can you just please do what we're used to? Keep something normal in life.
Yeah.
And give us some excitement.
Yeah.
Especially creative brands like makeup and skincare brands.
Yeah.
Do something exciting. A lot of
Yeah.
people who support you are very creative.
And even all these new exciting launches are just rehashed versions of everybody else's launches.
Yeah.
Pantone White. Robert, do you have a scenario for me today? Go on.
So you're in a cafe, right? And
Where? You don't have to. We talked about this before. You don't have to make a location.
Santorini.
Okay.
And an influencer walks in and it's
Oh my
like,
God,
I'm here.
An influencer. They're very rare
You
and
can
hard to
tell
come
they're
by.
an influencer because they're wearing all beige Pantone color of the year t-shirt
Yeah.
underneath.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm here to the people who work there. And they're like, oh, there's a bit of discussion between the manager and the influencer. You're overhearing, and the manager's like, oh, we actually said we can't afford for you to come in and, take some free food. And the influencer's like, oh, well, I'll just stay and take a few pictures. The influencer walks behind the counter where all the staff are working, starts like fingering the pastries to make like aesthetically pleasing like situations, starts taking pictures, no hygiene, nothing like that, starts helping themselves to drinks and eating it and putting them out to take pictures.
Stop it.
Yeah. True
Hang
or
on.
false?
No, because I need some more background
Okay, go on.
information, because this is appalling.
Yeah.
So they had prior discussions online.
Yes. So they had a prior discussion with a manager, but asking if they can come in and get some free food.
I'm an influencer.
I'm an influencer. I have 200 followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
I can put your place on the map.
Yeah.
And they're like, and then the manager's like, we can't really afford that. We're a startup company.
Mama,
you know what I mean?
papa, brand.
Mama, papa cafe.
Yeah.
So they're like, no, sorry, we can't.
Okay.
But they arrive anyway the next day or a few days later.
First of all, get over yourself if this is an influencer.
But
That's what makes me believe this, because I feel like some people are so desperate for content.
Yeah, that they'll do
like
anything.
they will breach. The most annoying thing here is the breach of sanitary wipes.
Hygiene.
That's what I was. Hygiene ratings.
not a breach of wipes.
Yeah, breach of hygiene.
So that didn't happen.
Okay, but I feel like that's based on true events.
It is based on true events, but the
Okay.
influencer didn't go behind the thing and finger all the food.
Yeah.
But an influencer did ask a cafe if she could turn up and do a review and get the food comped. They said no. She went the next day anyway and paid for the food.
Okay.
But then went online and gave a really negative review and said that I can taste all the fake ingredients when all the ingredients were actually shipped from Italy and France to make authentic
I
food.
know this story.
They
This,
probably
this
know it.
has
Probably-
become.
The influencer ended up deleting their social media because it was so bad. The review was so bad.
Okay, can I just? This might be really controversial. How many followers do they have? Do you know?
Oh.
Okay, so this is what I mean. So there is a difference between.
Oh.
I believe there is a difference between influencer and a content creator.
People can create
I
content
think
for
anyone
fun.
could be a content
Hobby.
creator because I guess it's an art form. No, get over yourself. We just film stuff. Creating content is a fun thing to do. I think there is like you have to have a certain knack behind
If
it.
you have
Not
time
everyone
to
can
do it. Sure, yeah.
I think an influencer, I think you achieve at a certain level. Agree with me? Sorry, management's over here. I believe like an influencer is a separate kind of content creator, right? Talent.
Wow, I guess that is true.
I can't believe it. I guess not everyone can be
you
talent.
have to be a special kind of person.
And actually, we'll talk about influencers and brand tricks in a
Mm.
minute, because they're without giving too much away. What was I talking about? Yeah. So this is the thing: is I feel like a lot of people call themselves influencers, but I do think there's a difference. I think you have to be at a certain place in a career and business to be able to call yourself an influencer. I believe that's a different. But I believe there are a lot of content creators, like UGC creators, for example,
Yes, who are good at making content.
Can I just tell you why they piss me off?
Yeah, because I said they were good at making content and then I stopped myself talking. Go on.
They are really good, and that's what annoys me.
Oh.
Some are terrible, but some of the UGC content I see, they have put so much time and effort into their
Oh
content.
no,
and
for
then
real,
I'm there holding and smiling a product, and they've done like a
Done.
whole advert, doing like with a backstory and everything.
Can we just on UGC very quickly? Maybe we could do another episode of this. they lie a lot. Not. I don't want to
So-
generalize, but
right.
like people accuse influencers of lying a lot.
Yeah.
But then I have known of a UGC content creator to be like, my colleague Shannon loves this, and it's like, that's your mum. We know that's your mum and not your
Because
colleague.
she featured in a
'Cause she
Fairy Up
featured in
Liquid
another- yeah,
advert
where it's like,
earlier,
my mum
yeah.
loves Fairy Liquid.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you lying? Why are you
Yeah.
lying?
And I think that's why, like, I don't know. That's why.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, I think that's like the thing with UGC creators is people aren't following them for
no
personal
for
reviews.
personal reviews
It's
and
an
relations.
advert that a
yeah.
brand can repost,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you see, they're actors in an advert,
Yeah,
essentially. Like you
true.
see on the TV.
That's true. We know that's not your
What's
mum.
it called? It's not online.
Yeah, no, see on the on TV is
The
correct.
pedestrian TV. So yeah, why are we talking about this?
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Let's
Pantone
go.
2026.
Do you want to start off with your favorite product?
Because
I
this time.
oh my god, are you going to show us mints?
Yeah, I'm going to show you these 4 mints I have left in this pack.
I don't
No,
see
although they're
that
very
products.
good. Let me just really quickly while you're pointing out my mints. These are from Korea, and they are like the equivalent of 50p, and they're like little capsules that just pop in your mouth. They're like
It's
mouthwash.
like oil. Mint oil.
If your mouth
but
is
not.
dry, though, they will get stuck to the inside of your throat,
Yeah.
and you'll be dislodging it for a week. But that's not what we're talking about today. We are talking about my favorite fragrance brand
Is this from
from
Thingy?
Korea,
Tambourine.
Tambourins, and they are kind of like a sister brand of the eyewear brand Gentle
Gentle
Monster.
Monster.
And I got into them because pretty much every K-pop idol is the face of the brand,
Yeah.
right? But I love Balms. Please.
You have, oh,
It's
balm.
Balms. So
There's an L.
what did I say?
I
Balms.
don't know what you
So
said.
this is like a stick fragrance.
Like a stick fragrance.
Yeah. And please elaborate. And what I like about, so I'm not going to talk about the scent
No,
because
do it,
I'm
because
known
I'm
for being
interested to see
terrible.
what you,
So
how
this
you describe
is, so
that.
this smells like a man who
What's
is
this? What's the name of it? Sorry, what's the
oh,
fragrance
so this Perfume Balm Camo.
camo.
So this smells like a man who's a manly man, but you can trust him. Like he's not gonna,
I see that.
like he will walk your friend home at night after a night out,
right, and you can trust him. To, yeah.
You can leave him alone with your cats,
Yes,
to,
yeah,
to
yeah.
water a plant. You can,
Sure.
He'll get
Yeah,
on with
I
it and he'll
can get
do
that,
it.
yeah.
He wears a pea coat and a scarf.
Oh, nice.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
You
like
get-
a woolly fisherman hat.
yeah, but not in the he thinks is in Peaky Blinders. kind of
No,
way.
no. That's not the wrong kind of hat.
Okay, I don't know hats.
Okay.
Because we're talking about fragrance.
Sure.
We're not fashion influencers. We're not fashion
Yeah,
UGCers.
yeah.
But
Talent, fashion talent.
fashion talent. But what I love about, I wear these to bed.
No,
I
see, you
always
piss
wear
me
a
off
balm
with
to
this.
bed.
You
No.
piss me off with those
So
bedtime fragrances.
this is why I can't talk about fragrance
That's not a
because
bedtime
it always
fragrance.
ends up in an
That's
argument.
not a bedtime fragrance. I'm sorry, it's too
It's
strong.
a soapy floral fragrance.
It's too strong.
No, so it smells strong because you sniffed it directly from the stick, Robert Walsh.
That's
If
how
you-
fragrance smells.
Yeah, but so for
That's how come it's called fragrance.
let me give you an example.
Go on.
Removing the lid,
Yes.
twisting up the bar.
Okay.
It's nighttime.
Yeah.
I've just done my skincare routine.
Okay. You're applying the
I'm
fragrance
just applying
to
2
you.
dots.
Right.
That's it. I'm not going up and down. Just a light scent of fragrance. Just a light scent. I'm panicking. I'm panicking. He threatens me before the episode starts, and then is trying to
Let
like.
me waft it past my nose and see.
So imagine you're all tucked up in bed, and occasionally you just get a smell of pea coat.
It's too thick. It's too thick a fragrance.
This is. I'm not gonna fucking bother in the future.
No, please.
No, I'm done.
Don't let people discourage
No,
you.
I'm
That's
done.
weakness.
Viral clip. I'm done. Then I walk out. So okay. So don't worry.
Okay. So I love that fragrance. It's just not a nighttime fragrance.
What would you consider a nighttime fragrance?
Something that you can hold next to your nose and inhale and inhale and inhale in your mouth too. Like you can taste it and it's all fine. Not Britney Spears Circus.
Robert fucking loves Britney Spears. What's that
But
pink
that's
one?
a room for
He
circus.
used it as a
No,
room
the
spray.
first one. What was the first one? Not circus.
The round pink one.
The original one.
everyone knows what.
It's great.
It's the original.
but that's not a
It's on the
nighttime
front going.
fragrance. Something really light. Something really like wood sage and sea salt from Jo Malone. Very lightweight.
Do you remember
airy.
when we bought that oud from that shop? Like I think it was the first
Yeah,
oud
and
which we love.
Yeah, but it
It-
ruined my clothes.
It it would not leave.
It wouldn't wash off. And then it started to smell like old fragrance. I was like, I
Yeah.
smell like a stale pub.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So as we mentioned, today we're going to be talking about brand trips, and we have been on a few brand trips recently.
Yes.
And don't we? I've had some stories to tell. No, not really. Well, we
Not
do.
really,
no,
but we do, but we don't.
There's
But not really.
Well, no, there's something we want to talk about.
Okay.
But first of all,
Yes.
it gets a little bit silly, a little bit gossipy.
Yeah.
But first of all, let's talk about brand trips, because I do
Okay.
feel like there are two camps of thought here.
They're very controversial, and I understand why.
I completely get
100%.
it. So I think back in the day, like 5 years ago, no,
No, a bit longer
like
now.
10,
Yeah.
when all the big first YouTubers were going on brand trips, it was kind of aspirational to see.
Not for some
You
people like us who don't like to do anything. But
Yeah, like we'd rather be at home.
Right.
But for example, Benefit.
Yeah.
They took everyone away. And
Yes.
back in the day, you know, if you were a fan of Benefit and you've seen these influencers going on about how much they love this brand, and they, you know, it was before the days of big amounts of PR.
Yeah.
You'd actually be happy for the influence. You'd be like, oh my God, like Benefit, I've
But the
noticed them,
thing-
they're taking them
right.
away.
But it was never smaller content creators and influencers.
No.
It was always the big ones.
Yeah.
And my issue with those ones, right, is that let's use Benefit as an example. Okay, so they have a product called Hula. Let's take everyone to Hawaii. And it's like, okay. So you're on. So now we're seeing all pictures of your influencers on the beach holding a giant Benetton.
Yeah.
Give a fuck. What
Right,
now? What
right.
now?
But then
And you'll be like, oh, I need that just so I can end up in
but
Hawaii.
that's
maybe.
you
Like-
because you're miserable. back in the day, imagine you were a huge fan of this person,
Yeah.
and they were essentially like living their dreams back then.
Yes.
And bearing in mind, this was before everybody and your neighbor was an influencer.
Yeah, true.
So you'd be like, oh my God, this is like a real moment for them, and you'd be happy because these are people that you've supported. You
Mm.
probably bought stuff from their undisclosed affiliate links,
Yes.
and you really wanted them to do well.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a huge thing back then,
Yeah.
and then it kind of morphed into.
But it happens so often.
I know. And then that's what happened. Then it kind of morphed into that. And it's like, okay, so why are they doing this again? Like,
Yeah.
what benefit is this? Not benefit, but what you know,
to what
why
benefit?
to what
Yeah,
benefit is
that's what I
this?
mean. Like, okay, so you've taken loads of people on this brand trip. They're kind of using your products. They're all on the beach taking loads of pictures of each other and themselves.
Yeah.
And then what? It's like watching Real Housewives and being like, it's the episode where they've gone on their trip. It's like, okay, how's this?
Yeah.
You know, although that's
Well,
entertaining.
Speaking of arguments abroad, we'll talk about that later. No, we won't. Nothing happens.
Something happened.
But so I think that's when people, as I mentioned, they were the early day influencers. And I think the general public, or
Yeah.
people who weren't influencer,
Yeah.
started to realize a bit more how the influencer industry worked. And they're like,
Yes.
hang on, this is one big undisclosed advert,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
They're on this trip. It's not for the sake of them. It's a business exchange.
Yeah, and let's be real, it's not a holiday.
No.
Yeah, or vacation. So.
It's vacation. That's the thing. I think people didn't realize until they eventually did that this is business.
A business transaction.
It's a business
Like,
transaction.
yes, they're going to this destination for free, but what's expected from them?
Yeah.
And sometimes what's contractually expected.
Yeah. And that's what I think. It almost looks like a holiday to a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, brand trips are amazing, incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Like everyone we've been on, we're like, this is amazing.
This is the best one yet.
This is the best one yet, every single time. But there is a difference. There have been brand trips that we've been on where there's absolutely no obligation to post anything.
Mhm.
I would say there's two type of brand trips, right, that we've been on. One is the one that's purely a gift. There's no obligation to post anything. You have to be a dickhead if you don't post anything. Just
Imagine a
invite
brand
public
taking
across
you
the
away
world.
and you're not posting a single thing. That's rude.
Yeah, but
You've been raised better.
you've been raised better than that, but it's good content for you as well as
Yeah.
a creator.
Yeah.
The other side is you sign a contract. You have to produce a certain amount of content whilst you're on that trip.
Which again,
Great,
I
like,
will. Yeah.
do it.
Mm.
So the problem is then it is not a problem. It's not a problem at all. Forever grateful. But what I think people don't realize is that you post the events that you're doing, you post the fun things that you're doing, but either side of that, you're back in the hotel room working
Yeah.
till 2 a.m. in the morning,
Which was
meeting
every night,
deadlines,
yeah.
making sure everything's posted.
Mhm.
Happy to do that abroad.
Happy to do
Rather
that
be
on a
doing
trip
that in a
I
different
haven't paid a
country.
single thing for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's the thing is when people say, I think it's very easy to look at it and be like, okay, it's work. But it is.
It is. I mean, it's
work.
quite literally our
Yeah.
jobs, whether you believe it's a real job or
Yeah,
not.
but for,
It's
it's
literally our
literally our
job,
jobs.
yeah.
But then for influencers to be like, you know what, it's actually hard work. It is, but stop it now.
But
You're
every
on a
job
holiday.
becomes your job, right? And
Yeah.
every part of whatever job you do becomes a hard part
Yeah.
of a job.
Yes.
But like, I mean, so like for example, the recent one we were on with Yepoda in South Korea, incredible, the best
So
time.
good. So
But we
good.
were jet lagged and then also staying up till 2 a.m. to work. But
Yeah.
which was fine because like the next day we were getting our hair done. You
Yeah,
know? So
and
it's
like,
like
so we're tired
yeah.
getting our hair and
But I
makeup
will
done.
sleep while I'm having like the best spa treatment I think I've ever
Yeah.
had done to my hair ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there is like parts of work
Yeah.
involved, but
And
they
not
do come across kind of like because you see the fun bits. So
Yeah.
you see the like, now we're eating food. Now we're on a boat. Now we're on a boat eating food, and it's like it's like that's the fun bit. But we've had to put all of that together and
Yeah.
then do this and then do
Yeah.
this and have it approved and
Yeah.
have it, you know.
And it
make
is
this
quite
change.
depending on the brand. There have been certain brand trips that we've been on where there is no break.
Mm.
You wake up, you get in a bus, you go to a location, you film, get on the same bus,
Mhm.
go to another location, film, and that is that for the whole day. We are
Get back to
speaking
the hotel, 20
yeah,
minutes to get ready for the evening.
for the evening event, back to the hotel after that evening event. Maybe you're a little bit squiffy, and then you have to do
Maybe a little bit of squiffer.
and then and then you have to produce content.
Yeah, and then we're up at 6 a.m. to
Yeah.
like anyone for work ever.
Yeah,
to do, yeah.
So it's not always like no, it is always fun.
It's always fun.
That's not what I
And
was
we're
gonna
not
say.
saying this to be like, oh my God, it's not what
Where
you
was me?
think. We're saying it just because I think a lot of trips come across as a vacation where it's like,
Yeah.
no, there is some work aspect
Yeah.
to it. Just so you understand what brand trips entail.
That all being said, retail is still the hardest job I've ever done.
Oh, serving is like in a restaurant is the hardest I've ever done.
Serving
Have
industry.
you ever changed a beer barrel, a keg? Have you ever plugged it into a? Oh my God,
No.
it's insane. I thought I was going to die every time I did it. Every time I was like, well, this is it. It's going to explode. I'm going to die. Yeah.
Wait, why?
Because like gas pressure and stuff, you have to wait for the pressure to go down
Oh,
and then
'cause it
plug
has to
it
go
in.
up into a
Yeah.
tube.
And then wheeling one of those or pushing it,
Mm.
terrifying.
Okay.
Especially with my slide frame.
Oh, thank God you're alive.
I know.
And then with that being said, so everything is quite tightly routine scheduled on some of these trips, right? And that being said too, there is also sometimes lighting, videographers, photographers. So sometimes there's a lot of moments where the whole time you're doing something, you're like this.
Like there's a camera there and you're like,
Yeah.
like
And
Ariana
then-
Grande when she walks backwards so no one sees that side of her face. Oh, it
Does
looks
she
like
do
rain.
that?
Yeah, have you seen
That's
that video
very
where she's walking
clever.
forward and she backs up? It's like,
No. So it can be really intense, but it's also the most fun ever.
oh yeah.
Like it's not a horrible thing.
Yeah, I never. It's never horrible.
But that's how it's a businessy transaction,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Which I think a fair few people understand nowadays.
And I think, I mean, you don't like an influencer's ever like this brand's taking me to this country on business, on business, on business. It's always like because it's going to be a fun time. So
Yeah.
that's why some people are like it's a business transaction.
Yeah,
It's like yeah, we know.
Yeah.
We do know.
We've always wondered, how do you get picked for an influencer brand trip?
Yeah.
And then what happens? Like why are you like how why?
Why?
So
Why
we kind of ran to these two terms, which maybe you could help us with. Sorry, I will say every episode, our managers are over there. So what we're under the impression is
and
that
we might not know.
we might not know. For example, we go on a trip and our organic posts can then be kind of translated into monetary values for the brand essentially. And that involves things like traffic to their websites, their
Right.
social media.
But maybe they would
social
have to
media
pay like
saves,
a wage, a fee for any
from
other
us
time.
as talent, then that transfers into real purchases, etc., etc. And there is a way of guessing how much that influence has
Yeah.
made you. So I always wonder, like, how are they? Because we've been in brand trips where we've not worked with the brands before, but we've posted organically. So I wonder
must
in
be
the
it.
past if they've tracked those posts. You're getting the nod over there to see the
This
monetary
is
value
like, you know,
of
through the
us.
keyhole where they're like,
And they clap when they say
this
something right.
person works in books. And it was like,
Very terrifying program through
you
the
keep talking,
keyhole.
I was gonna
Oh, Tara, if you don't know Through the Keyhole, that some person walks around a celebrity's home and tries to give clues, and the,
like, look
the
in this
panel have to
drawer.
guess.
Yeah,
And there's like scary things.
yeah, there's a
and,
spoon. Could that mean something?
and then everyone has to guess, and it's
Yeah,
terrifying.
it is
It's
scary.
So that's why these brand trips obviously are expensive and they must invest so much. But as an influencer, you do feel a bit of responsibility to be like, I've got to earn my place on this trip. Like I've got
You
to
do, and maybe
make
that's
up
just
for
us
this.
because we're very thankful we're doing it.
We're such
we
lovely
don't
people.
feel we're like we deserve this.
Yeah.
I've worked so hard for this. You know what I mean?
And that's what we. How do I say this? We've been on some amazing brand trips, and the influencers have always been amazing. There has been one trip, and we won't say what, where we have kind of witnessed some entitlement,
Yeah.
and you just feel like saying to that influencer,
Can you get a grip?
get a grip, remember where you are,
Yeah.
remember why you're here, and
Remember who
remember
brought
there are
you
about
here.
2 million other people with the same follow account as you,
Exactly.
and so many people do not know who you are. Like, calm
Calm
the fuck
the fuck
down,
down.
rein yourself back in,
Yeah.
be thankful for where you are.
Right.
And it's kind of like so cringeworthy watching these people who have put together this amazing week for you. Or
That's the thing,
however
it's
long.
somebody's job to stress out about booking the right rooms, booking enough rooms, saying to the hotel, we're going to have this many people, taxis, cars, restaurants, places that can accommodate for a group of 30. Like, that's a stressful job for someone. There's people behind the scenes. I always remember when I came back from that TIRTIR trip the first time, and someone was like, oh, you just happen to be on a trip and just love every single bit of it. I'm like, what do you mean I just happened to be taken on a trip?
Yeah,
To one of my dream destinations, did the best shopping with one of the best brands, and I just happened to have enjoyed myself. Like, what does that even mean? What does that mean? Like, what are you trying to catch me out on?
You come back from an influencer trip and you're like,
wow, never again.
South Korea's not for me.
Yeah,
like,
and that brand, don't like them. And that
Yeah.
hotel room, disgusting.
But that goes back to what we were saying, is that like we had never worked with TIRTIR prior to that, but we had
loved their
posted organic
products before.
content. Yeah,
Wait,
so
I think I had worked with TIRTIR before that.
oh, did we?
I think I did.
I just
I
lied.
did their cushions, cushion
I'm a
foundations.
horrible liar. But do you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
influencers
there
for
has
you.
to be a genuine working relationship or love
Yeah,
for that
a love
brand
for the
for them
product.
to eat, because
Well.
it's not beneficial for that brand to spend all that money on you if
For
you're just
what
going to shit on them
return?
for no return.
Exactly. And you know what it is as well? I mean, we have been on some trips where there's some people that maybe have been invited that aren't maybe makeup or beauty related. And, you know, they've made content nicely for the brand. But, I mean, you see them interact with makeup and it's like, it'll be like me holding, I don't know, a drill. I don't know what a drill is or what to do with a drill.
We went on a trip, and this brand sells skincare and makeup, right? And there was a really lovely group of people. We were actually scared before we went on this trip, because before we go on a trip,
scared. We were scared of being pissed off.
So we're not confrontational, but if someone wants to be rude to anyone, or if we, you know, or to us, we're fine to say something.
Yeah.
But so we always ask for a list of people as well, for various reasons, before we go on a trip. And we saw this group of people. As a whole, they're not a known group of people.
No, oh yeah.
And we're like, oh my God, we're going to struggle on this trip because we're so different. Like, they might be entitled. They
had millions of followers. So we're like, oh no, they're going to have attitudes, which
Yeah.
is kind of like stereotyping, but sometimes a stereotype exists for that reason.
Yeah.
With influencers anyway.
The loveliest group of people.
So fucking nice.
So nice.
So
And
nice.
really invested in what we were doing, and so hardworking as well. But watching them interact with makeup was like watching Robert interact with...
Why were you using me as an example?
I don't know. Have you seen that stock image of that woman dressed as an alien? She's holding a bit of corn and she doesn't know what it is.
Yes. She's injecting a piece of corn.
She's injecting a bit of corn.
Yes.
They had no idea what they...
She's got a syringe. She's holding a piece of corn. She's wearing all silver.
Yeah, she's wearing a silver onesie. And it was bizarre. They just kind of pointed at it and had photographs taken. But you know what? They were putting their all into it.
They really tried their best.
And
they made great content.
And they probably made the brand a lot of money by pointing at that product. Why are we talking about this? I can't remember. They were lovely. But that's the thing, is I feel like there are two camps of influencers that are invited on this trip.
Right.
The ones that's going to get them the new attention, or maybe use their audience, and then the people that are actually probably going to make them sales
and
through their dedicated
long-term
audience.
attention.
Yeah.
But because you know what I love about the brand trips we've been on is every single one is educational.
Yes.
We're not just having a nice time. We're also going to see the factory. We're learning about the product. We're learning about a new product. There's a new store opening. We're going to the country where that product is from. And that's, from my background, I like that information. Whereas if I go, like, that's a brand trip took us to Spain. I was like, we're just going to sit on the beach. It's like, yeah, but what does that tell me about the brand?
Just send me a padded envelope with
Right.
products in a description.
So then I'm more than likely going to use that product throughout the year, the following years, because I know more about it and I can talk about it more and I know what to expect from the brand.
Do you remember that big brand trip? I can't remember who it was or what it was. And none of the influencers,
because
it might have been Tarte, but none of the influencers were using that brand's products. Was that Tarte?
Like,
I don't want to say anything about Tarte, but
But I don't want to say anything, but they're boring as fuck.
Not to name names, but Tarte are boring as fuck.
No.
But that's the kind of thing that you look at now and it feels very outdated.
Yes.
Tarte's influencer trips, for example.
You know
It's like,
what?
what's the point in this?
You know what is outdated about those is the influencers being treated as a celebrity. And it's been like the focus is on the influencer
Yeah.
and the brand.
Yeah.
Whereas the brand trips we've been on, the focus is on the brand and how great the brand is.
And the
what
background
they
and
do.
the history.
Exactly.
And
the ingredients. But we went to a factory and literally saw the product being folded.
A really important step in any production chain.
It being filled. We saw machinery. And I was like, I felt really old because I was like to a person, so is that temperature controlled? But that's important when you're
it's
learning about,
important.
and they told us all about how it cools. And I found that
Mhm.
fascinating because I know how that product was made. And then I take it home and I use it.
Yeah.
That to me is really, really interesting.
I think that's the difference between old influencer trips and new influencer
Old
trips.
influencer trips, like, this bronzer makes you look sexy.
Yeah,
And then you're,
sexy.
sexy.
Isn't
And
that
then-
all Benefit do? Like, this is sexy.
No, they're like,
that's
oh-
Glam Glow.
Oh my God,
Do you
they're
remember Glam
done.
Glow?
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. This might not be. This might have not happened. This might be Mandela effect. But I
Okay.
remember checking out Glam Glow. Like I'm checking it out, as in I checked out on their website.
Okay,
I bought
right.
something, and the like you place your order thing came up, and it was like a lady, like fully clothed, laying down on a desk, and like a man going over.
It was
her.
unnecessarily
I'm
sexual.
like, what's that got to do with your face mask that's meant to get rid of my acne?
No, it was unnecessary. Like
It
the
was.
Virgin
It
Atlantic
was like,
cruise.
look at this.
Unnecessary
Yes,
sexually.
with a sexy face mask that's going to make your skin look like sex.
It was too much.
Yeah.
That's why they're not around anymore.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so like the older brand trips kind of, it just made no sense to me.
It was about the influencer having a fun time, very much pandering to
Yeah,
the
was
influencer.
like, what's that going to give your followers?
Mhm.
What are you providing in terms of knowledge about this product and how it's going to benefit them? And I think people's experience with makeup, people's knowledge on makeup, even if you don't wear it, you know what a lot of the stuff is now. So you know, you need to give people more than just this bronzers your face. This
Yeah.
foundation is foundation. You know what I mean? Like, that's why it's nice to know about the backgrounds of brands and where they come from.
But that's the thing as well, is like the old-fashioned brand trips, I guess like in a good way and bad way, looked like really crazy, spontaneous fun. And I think our brand trips do as well, but they never are. They're great
the
fun,
complete
but
opposite of spontaneous.
Yeah.
To a point where sometimes you get given a mood board of how you should dress for each event.
I fucking love that though.
I love it because,
Oh my
but
God.
don't tell me to wear a color. But you know, tell
I
me
will
what
wear
the vibe
black
is.
on a theme.
Yes, yes,
Whatever that
yeah.
theme may be.
Because there's like lunch, but it's like, okay, but what lunch? What
Yeah.
is lunch
Yeah.
now? Yeah,
Yapada, very good at that.
perfect.
Oh my God. We were
Yeah.
like, what should we wear? And luckily they sent like a whole pack of like, great. Because
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff you need to know when you're going to come back with a whole
Yeah.
half case of Olive Young stuff.
Yes,
You know?
yeah,
You know exactly what to pack.
exactly.
But that's the thing is like, and this is going to sound so stupid again, and not ungrateful at all, but it can be exhausting.
It is exhausting because
Having
you're
to-
doing everything.
doing it
all
every-
day,
yeah.
all the time.
But then I hate being late for anything. So you, like usually on
Mm.
influence events, you'll have to meet in a certain place, and when people are late or taking their time, I'm like everyone, and I'm getting on that bus. And
Yeah,
I'm
I'm gonna leave
you.
without
I'm
you.
gonna
It's
go.
only me and James at lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have a few more like kind of gossipy takes that we want to talk about,
Yeah.
but should we break for a product review?
Yeah, let's break for a product review. Oh, me?
It's you.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
because you slagged off my fragrance.
The memories we have. Talking about talking about a brand trip we've been on, right? TIRTIR.
Can I just say,
Go on.
magic. Every time we go to South Korea, we
Yeah.
have to go back to that TIRTIR store
And we
because
went
we
in
loved
there
it
and
so
the girl
much.
was like, "It's good to see you again." I was like,
Amazing trip.
yeah. So they.
What's this?
Yeah, you've not seen this.
Okay.
You don't know what this is.
All right. So
So TIRTIR do this thing, and I think a lot of brands do it, where they will release certain stuff only to the Asian market
Yes.
first,
Mhm.
give us the 15 shades, and then they go to the rest of the world and do the 35.
Right.
This is their Mask Fit Ruby Mesh Cushion. So this is limited shades at the moment from where we are now. It is, they have a crystal one. So they do
I
a white
love
crystal
the
one.
crystal
Right,
one.
so that's silver. This is a red crystal. So it almost looks like a diamond.
a diamond.
Diamonique from
Yes.
QVC.
Oh,
That plastic diamond.
Yes.
But inside is a mesh.
And is it true that mesh usually means watery, dewy, glowy?
Yes. But let me tell you, I have never experienced a formula like this. It's really strange,
Oh.
right? Formula.
I think it's a former. I thought that was some kind of bit I didn't
Oh,
know about.
no.
Okay.
So it kind of it's super, super glowy. Think of a Romand one, the Romand cushion
Yes.
one, the
Oh,
water one.
yes.
It goes on almost like it lays down a layer of color, and it puts down the color layer, but then it feels like the glow layer is separate. It's really strange. Yeah. So there's like lip
Oh.
tints, for example, that will tint your lips. So the color is underneath the gloss. So it tints your lip
Yes.
and there's a gloss layer on top. And it feels like that on the skin. Super, super glowy. I'm oily and I don't mind a glow,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
bit of a, because I can top it up throughout the day.
Right.
Probably best for, I mean, TIRTIR say a lot of their products are good for all skin types, but if you don't have time to touch up your foundation, probably not the best one to go for, but everyone else, dehydrated dry, this will be beautiful. Again, I got this from Olive Young, but
Uh,
it's not the full shade range yet. But you
yeah.
know, TIRTIR, they move quick.
Yeah.
So this will be in their 35 shade range,
It's
I assume.
SPF.
SPF 50,
That could be
30, sorry,
why.
PA++. I think SPF
That
30.
could be
But
why though, because the SPF in compacts is usually mineral,
right, so
so
we
they
need to
have
take
to
it
get rid of
out.
that mineral
Yeah,
to be able
but
to make the other
it's
shades.
so unique in formula, like it's really difficult to describe.
How
It's beautiful.
interesting! Because their crystal one doesn't go up in many shades, does
It
the
does now. It
silver one?
goes up to
Okay.
like the 25s, I think,
Alright,
if I remember. That's a beautiful one as well.
yeah.
That's like tinted water. This has a bit more
Mm.
coverage than that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so good. They know how to make a
Ooh.
foundation that makes people want to try it and it goes viral.
Yeah.
Because all of them are good. All
Yeah.
of them are good.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, let's get into a bit more of, I guess, like the behind the scenes and then
What happens?
what happens
What happens?
really,
Yeah.
what really happens.
Really.
So even as an observer
Mm.
before going on brand trips,
Yes.
I've always thought that's a weird mix of people.
Will they get on?
Will they get
Do they get
on?
on?
The follower counts are so
Different,
different.
varied, yeah.
Varied, varied, varied. So I remember the first brand trip I was invited on, and there were people who had millions more followers than me. I was like, oh my God, these people aren't going to give me the time of day. Like, they're
Mm.
not going to. Actually, no. So the first ever brand trip I went on was when I signed with Icon
Mhm.
US.
Mm.
And this was Michelle Phan's
Agency.
kind
Talent.
of, talent agency. And they flew me out to LA. And there were people on that list who got signed who were on millions. And
And back in that day, that was a lot.
that
I
was
mean, it's a lot now,
it's a
but
lot
it's a
now,
lot,
but yeah,
yeah.
huge. And I had literally just started my YouTube channel because the lady who was running Icon had scouted me from my old job at presenting ASOS.
Right.
And I think I had 2,000 subscribers
On a brand trip,
on a
2,000
brand trip.
subscribers.
And
That's
it was
crazy.
kind of like a thing where everyone was like working on their social media skills, and it was about
Okay.
building
Like a
relationships and
think
stuff.
tank
Like
trick.
a think tank
Trip.
You know, when like all the
Jesus.
songwriters go to the songwriting camp
Oh, but let's go and take mushrooms in the field.
in the
And
field
yeah,
and
yeah,
sing,
yeah, yeah.
but you go as influencers, right?
Yes,
And it was
yeah.
actually incredible. Everyone was so lovely, and that has been the case for nearly every trip I've been on.
Yeah.
The majority, there's no clickiness. Can I just, what I will say though, well, that's a lie because the first one was American people, but I do think it's a very British influencer thing to not be bothered by follow count and who you
Yes,
should
I
and
agree.
shouldn't
Yeah.
socialize
Right,
with.
right.
Even events we go to that aren't influencer brand trips, no one gives a fuck. You just chat to people.
No, yeah, exactly.
There are some influencers though. There's this one influencer who I thought was really lovely, and then she was rude to a waiter, and it's really rubbed me the
Who
wrong
was
way
that?
forever. Yeah, so you occasionally come across an influencer like that, but I don't actually think influencers are as entitled as those random ones you see on TikTok.
Yeah,
Who,
and it tends to be sometimes the ones with a lower follower count that tend to get a bit of an attitude for no reason.
That being said, did you going slightly off from brand trips, which we'll get into the gossip in a minute? Sorry. Did you see that TikTok of that content creator who?
The Marshalls event.
Yes. Did you want to explain?
Yeah, so this content creator, she had 8,000 followers on TikTok.
Good amount. Good amount.
Not really. You get no, but I mean, TikTok is very easy. Is an
For the
easy
way she's going to
platform.
behave as well.
Yeah, it's an easy platform to gain followers on. There are dogs, cats, mice with millions of followers. You know what I mean?
Okay, fine.
Like, let's be real. And she got invited to this Marshalls event through a message on TikTok that said, "We know you love Marshalls. Come
Very
to our
standard.
event from 9 a.m. till 8 p.m." Right? She took that as a personal invite, as in like, we want you to come. She turns up to this event, has to wait outside with, quote, Joe Schmo looking homeless like they've just come off the street. She then goes into the event, gets a free color analysis, which is content she could have done, which is very on trend at the moment, but she didn't see that. Walks out of the event, films the crowd. This is who I had to wait with. I mean, look at them. They all look homeless. Gets in her car, starts to drive, and then talks about how this event should have been just for content creators like her.
She was like, us content creators don't.
She was like,
don't deal with the riffraff.
Right.
Don't
She was like, you can
the...
tell when someone's a content creator. I could tell no one in that queue was. We just dress different. We just look different. And the entitlement and the arrogance on her when she fought 8,000 followers.
People like, calm
She was
down.
invited to a pop-up event. Anyone can attend a pop-up event. If you
My
are,
dogs
if you
have like 8,000.
right, if you're invited to an actual event, they would want you to RSVP. Please RSVP this time. A pop-up event is anyone can come between this time and this time. If we're invited to a pop-up event, more than likely we're given like an hour window, right? Like not the whole day. So maybe someone who works there can, be with us or talk to us, whatever like that. She was invited, targeted because she uses the hashtag for Marshalls. She's added Marshalls like thousands of other people. And then she made this apology where she was like, Marshalls apologized to me. Yeah, because you made it a big deal.
But then she was also like, my video was taken out of context. And I was like,
no, everyone saw the
wasn't.
content. You called people homeless looking because they were wearing regular clothes.
Everyday clothes.
Everyday clothes. And you thought because you curled your hair that you were better than everyone.
I think it's similar when it comes to like celebrities, as what we've both worked with celebrities. And it's the Z-listers that are the worst people you're ever going to meet.
Do you know the worst people I've ever worked with?
Who?
Can I say a name? The Cheeky Girls.
The fucking cheeky girls.
So anyone who doesn't know, they're these two joke acts that were on Pop
Novelty
Stars.
act.
No, they were joke. And they couldn't sing, and that was the whole thing. So rude. So rude when they came into, and I was just in retail. They came into the store where it was rude to everyone. They were awful. And
I won't name names because they're bigger, but the people that were the rudest and most difficult to work with.
Were the A-list? No, the Z-list, sorry.
The Z-list,
Yeah.
side characters,
Yeah.
people from reality TV,
Yeah.
like people that just weren't.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very similar to the influencer
Yes.
space. Like some of the most iconic YouTubers, beauty, who are now icons in the beauty space.
The non-problematic ones.
Yeah, have been the nicest people
Yeah.
we've ever met.
Yeah.
Ever met.
Mm.
But then saying that as well, micro influencers, not an issue.
Right.
But we've heard stories.
Mm.
That being said, we went on a trip of a kind
Yes.
to a country of a sort.
Right.
And we weren't hanging around. Okay, let me start again. We've had one negative experience.
Yes.
I will
And
say.
maybe not directly.
not
but
direct
when
as well.
someone just gives off like
Rubs you up the wrong way
Yeah.
because you can see what's going on.
Yeah.
So what we'll say is this person had an entitlement like I've never seen an influencer
Never
have
in my life.
before.
It was like a joke. You know when you watch like a Hallmark Christmas film? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, my sister's coming. She's an
And
influencer.
she's like, hey everyone, I'm getting 20,000 hits on this, whatever. And it's like they're using
Post.
language, yeah.
And then they have an assistant there.
And they're wearing a bucket hat and a tie.
Yeah,
It's
it was
like
like a feather boa.
dressed
Very,
like the Disney
very
Channel.
Disney Channel influencer. Yeah.
This person wasn't wearing a bucket hat and a feather boa.
She might as
But
well have
she may
been.
as well have been.
Or they might as well have been.
You know who she looked like? Carmen Sandiego.
Yes, where in the world
What is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah.
Is that an English reference or an American
think that's
reference?
American.
It's American. So we were on this trip. So happy. We were with some of the most iconic people in the industry.
Yeah.
And the
national
national
treasures.
treasures.
Yeah.
And they were the nicest people we've ever
Yes.
met.
Who potentially have achieved so much in their life that they could be like, I have no time for you little
We're
people.
actually doing our own thing. Yeah.
We're actually going to go off and do our own thing. We can come on this trip whenever we want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But they were lovely.
Lovely.
So
So
nice.
grateful, so thankful, so willing to speak to everyone and just
Mhm.
normal people.
Yeah. But sometimes when you look at somebody's following, you have to think, why do they have that? And how's that? What does that look like in the geographical wise?
content-wise.
How does that look in the grand
Say
scheme
you
of other
speak a language
people's?
that only one country speaks, or two countries speak.
You're going to have a larger following who only
who
speak
only
that
speak that
language,
language,
right?
yeah.
So when you look at their, for example, 2 million, it may be a different kind of 2 million, say, to an English-speaking 2 million.
Right.
Because, I don't know, is that a thing?
Yeah,
Do
like,
you know what I mean? Like, it's-
say England is the only country that speaks English, and you speak English in your content.
Mm.
A lot of English people are gonna be like, "Oh, I don't have to think much." when
Yeah,
I'm watching
whereas
because of
your
my native
demographic,
language."
if you speak English, maybe varies, or you don't speak at all in your
Right.
content, will vary worldwide.
right, exactly.
She's still got, they've still got 2 million.
You've said she the whole time.
Oh, have I?
Don't try and hide it now.
But the entitlement we saw from this creator,
Mm.
giving evils to people who hadn't done anything.
Other content creators
The
on the trip who
attitude
have a
of
similar amount of following
yeah,
have achieved much more in life. No
yeah,
offense.
the
Yeah.
secret like whispering to other
Mm,
content
mm.
creators, the unwillingness to do the most basic tasks
Yes.
that were asked them on this trip.
Yes.
Because we had goals we had to hit, we had content we had to create. We don't know about everybody else on the trip because I
But you're
guess
being
people's contracts
asked to create
varied.
content about really unique
Yeah,
experiences.
yeah,
Like we said, we had our hair and makeup done. What's the problem?
yeah,
How is that like a negative experience for you? Are you
yeah.
kidding me? We're in a country which is known for its beauty and the
Innovation. We won't
innovation.
tell you
We
where.
won't tell you. But like, do you not want to experience that firsthand, being somebody in the beauty community, social media wise? Do you not want to experience that
This is the thing, if you
difference?
aren't so self-involved,
Mm,
you will look at the beauty industry outside of yourself and what you put
yes.
on your fucking face and
Right.
realize where the fuck you are, who the
Yeah.
fuck you're with,
Yes.
and what is going on around you, and
Yeah.
realize that this is such an amazing opportunity.
Right.
There's so much to create here and so much to
That people,
learn.
amazing opportunities that people don't get once in their lifetimes.
But they're like,
Even.
no, don't touch
Yeah.
me.
Don't touch me. I
I'm fine with this jacket.
I'm finding this coat I'm wearing every single day to every event, even though
Why was that an issue for us? It was obnoxious.
We were trying to pick on things because it was just so like you are so unbelievably rude
Rude.
to the people who invited you on this trip.
Yeah.
Like imagine somebody paying for you to just even if it's just a vacation and then being rude to you the whole time,
Fine.
being rude to your staff, being rude to everyone around. It's like how do you have the nerve
Yeah.
to think you can be like this just because of people who pay attention to you sometimes on social media?
I know.
Like
But also, who gives a fuck?
yeah.
You and everyone else is an influencer. You're not that
Yeah.
special. Calm the fuck
You calm the fuck.
down.
You're not. What's that mean?
What?
You're not that good looking. Your hair's uneven. Have you seen it?
No.
Your hair's uneven.
What? Okay. All right.
I have
It just
one.
baffles me every single time because this is a job that isn't easy to do and easy to get into the position that you're in. And the fact that there would be one day where you're just gonna think you deserve it and that everyone needs to pander to you is so
Right.
bewildering
And that
to
person was
me.
old enough, like us, to live in a time where this influencer as a job didn't exist. Social media didn't exist.
Mhm.
Imagine saying to yourself back then, I was working in Top Man, you working in Lush, and it's like one day you're gonna have a job where brands will take you to different countries.
And you're gonna be a dick.
And you're going to be a dick.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh no, that sounds really terrible for me.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? And like, this job exists and you're really lucky to have it. Why are you taking, why do you think you're so special that you can physically shout at people
Yeah.
and your own manager for, yeah, for, just taking you on a trip and accompanying you on a trip? It's horrendous.
It's just, ugh. But then I also look at these people. I'm like, I wonder, because I've always wondered, I'll be honest, if people have a better room than me. Do you not look at their follow accounts and be like, I bet they've got a nicer room?
Well, I do, but all our rooms have been fucking amazing.
I know, they've been really good.
I've stayed in a room that's been bigger than the whole downstairs level of my house.
Yeah, I mean, no, I was going to say you could give me a
I was
room with a
exaggerating,
toilet in
yeah.
the bedroom, but don't fucking do that. I'll
Oh,
book my own
no,
hotel.
yeah.
No, we do have standards.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'll ever be ungrateful for whatever size room I get. But
No.
I always wonder, I'd be like, oh, I bet like the National Treasures, I was like, they must have the penthouse,
Yeah.
And I always wonder if any influencers ever kicked off about that. Not to our knowledge.
There was a case once, and I think it was a Tart trip actually, where people were given rooms depending on follow account, which I think is really awful, right? Because if it's your first brand trip, right? Maybe you're a little bit nervous. Maybe you're not with each other, maybe you don't have someone else you can be with. And you turn up to this place and you already know that your value is kind of being judged by other people depending on your follow account. Then you get given a room that is the tiniest room, which you love the room. And then you find out later that people have floating bathtubs, a
the honeymoon
balcony.
jacuzzi room.
Yeah, a waterfall. This kind of stuff. It's like, so we
that'd be
are being.
awful
Can you
in a
imagine?
room.
No, that'd be quite relaxing.
No, loud and
A
annoying.
mini waterfall.
No.
Then you find out that actually we are being judged on follow account, and I don't
Because-
feel as valuable as everyone else here.
But that's the thing. Everyone's on that trip because they do have value.
Yeah.
I think I remembered another story about another influencer who can't name. So we went on this brand trip, but I did see this brand trip, and it was kind of annoying. Like I hated that.
So
this brand
we were
did
on
this.
it, or you?
No, we weren't on
okay.
it. But I remember looking at this brand trip and thinking, this is so tone deaf. Like, why now of all occasions? It was just after COVID. Completely irrelevant. So we've heard from.
Go on,
So
go.
here's
Go,
the
go,
thing.
go, go.
Like me and Robert really get along with everybody
We
involved in
get on with
influencer
listen, the
industry.
nicest people you'll ever meet.
Listen, we're
Listen.
very professional.
Yeah.
Whatever your position is within the space, like marketing
Yeah.
teams, everything.
Oh,
So
we're
we get told
lovely.
a lot of behind the scenes
Yes,
stuff
we
about
do.
other influencers
Yeah.
from people who work for brands.
Yes.
A lot of fun dinners,
Mm.
and we were told a story about this person who worked for this brand. And this one influencer missed their flight, right? And it wasn't an easy flight to get. It was to a pretty interesting location, and they demanded to be instantly booked on a business class flight
Yes.
back out to this thing after they missed a flight. If I did that, I'd be like, I'm so sorry,
I will pay for my flight. I'll
and
be
I'll
there
just
tomorrow.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'd see if they can. I'd be like, if they, I wouldn't pay for
If they
to pay for it
offered, I
straight
wouldn't
away.
say
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I would offer to pay if they were
Yeah.
like, oh, we can't do anything.
Yeah. And then once they got there, they had used a fake name.
They were so worried that
That
people were gonna
to
hunt
find
down the
them.
hotel they were staying in,
Yeah.
find them. And this person isn't like
Not
international
like
2026.
no, they've got
seller
a
of the
great
year.
following.
Yeah, it's like okay.
They're not cloudy white or whatever
exactly.
it is. But they apparently always book under a fake name, and they're not that big a deal. I'll be honest with you. And apparently vile to the hotel staff, like because they were like, "Well, this isn't your name." And they're like,
Yeah.
"No, it's a fake name I use." Blah blah blah. And apparently vile the whole trip. Even some of the influencers just ended up ignoring this
Yeah.
person on the trip.
Mm.
So I find that kind of behavior really interesting.
Because it's telling of who they think they are.
A very overinflated ego.
Like who is hunting you down? When have you physically been hunted down?
Can you imagine someone calling hotels being like, I'm just wondering for some random reason.
Is this person staying there?
Yeah,
They don't even
in
know
a
you're going on
separate
brand trip.
country.
Yeah, they don't know what hotel
Exactly.
you're staying in.
Really bizarre behavior.
Yeah.
A few really quick points. A lot of brands are now taking customers on brand trips, which I think is really interesting.
They say a lot of brands, like one or two.
One or two. But I think it's going to start picking up like that because although they don't get that kind of like repost, well, no, they
What
do.
we were talking about earlier, like
the
earned
media value. What they do get is essentially UGC content,
Yes,
but then also like a media frenzy. Oh my god, this brand isn't taking influencers,
Right.
which is really
They're
really
in
good for
touch
the
with
brand.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think a lot of people think influencer trips, as gossipy as we made it sound. I think a lot of them do think it's like girls' trip, Real Housewives.
Throwing
Fighting.
drinks at each other.
It's usually very professional,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. You do have fun. You drink a little bit if that's your thing. You can relax, but a
Yeah.
lot of the time,
The brand will guide you into
the brand
what
will
kind
guide
of a
you.
deal it
You're
is.
working. You're working in the bus.
Yeah.
We're not, but
Yeah.
TikTokers
Some
are
of
because
us
they
are.
work like crazy.
Yeah.
So it's not as like "Wah," as everybody thinks
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very scheduled.
Yes.
Okay, so let's think about this
Okay.
really. Do brand trips have any position in today's influencer sphere?
Factually and statistically, yes.
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 Agreed.
Are they out of touch and out of date? Depends on the trip.
Yeah. Do
I-
people care about them as much?
No.
Depends.
Depends.
Like
depends.
you said. For example, I think a brand taking you to the country of their
Origin.
origin, inspiration,
Mhm.
showing you behind the scenes,
Yeah.
showing you how your favorite products are made
Yes.
and what's to come in the future,
Yeah.
or showing you the cultural inspiration behind their product, how they became so popular, etc., etc. Like even
Etc.
just being in the air of a
Yes,
brand
yes,
sometimes is
yeah.
really inspirational going
Yeah.
forward, not just for that brand, but as you as a creator looking into other brands,
Mhm.
then creating interesting content
Yes.
after that. I don't
Yeah.
think necessarily the brand trip itself is the most interesting thing for your average viewer nowadays.
No, but it is kind of interesting. Like when TIRTIR took us to South Korea and we did some traditional South Korean things.
yeah,
Perfect.
some brands just don't get it. Some brands aren't changing their formula when it comes to brand trips or
Yeah.
like what people actually want.
Yes.
Like people
yeah.
just don't care about influencers the way
Yeah,
they
they
used to.
don't. It's not like we're like, oh, we want to see what they're doing every single
Yeah.
day. It's the brands that are going to provide value in the trip,
Mhm.
and the influencers then handing on that value to the followers. That's when the brand trips are good. I don't want to see you on a beach sunbathing.
I don't
Who
care.
cares? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't care if you're in a tent on the beach using a lip
Yeah.
balm.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt especially moany this
Emotionally
episode.
exhausted.
Oh, have such a hard
God.
job.
Yeah.
Fly us out to another country.
Someone take us to Spain immediately.
But don't use our real names.
But don't use our
Listen, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Share this with whoever you want or don't. It's up to
Yeah.
you. We don't want to force you
Are
into
you on
anything.
a brand trip? Play this out loud.
Let us know. Really good idea. And hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye.